Hey Buff fans, welcome back to the one and only Go Buff Sports Live Show.
We're so happy to have you joining us on this beautiful Friday.
I'm your host, Hannah Howell.
And I'm Zachary Giesensaw. Let's go ahead and get right into it, and we're going to talk about all things CU sports this week.
The men's Hoopers lost their fifth straight game last Saturday against the UCF Knights. Offense was not the problem for the Buffaloes, as the team shot 52% from the floor and 55% from deep. Once again, it was Colorado's defense that held back the black and gold. The Knights were on fire from three-point range all game, shooting above 60% from deep. UCF guard Riley Kugel finished the game's leading scorer with 22 points, after only scoring 5 in the first half. Colorado's Sebastian Ranchi, Barrington Hargress, and Isaiah Johnson all scored 20 or more points in the contest. Read more about the game on our website.
On Sunday, Colorado women's basketball beat the Oklahoma State Cowgirls 79-65 at the CU Event Center. Senior forward Jade Masagayo tied her career high in points with 22. Junior guard Desiree Wooten had a near double-double with 15 points and 9 rebounds. CU also held star Cowgirl Staley Hurd without a field goal and OSU collectively to 35% shooting during the impressive victory.
After the crucial dub on home court, J.R. Payne's squad hit the road to play Kansas State. Still searching for their first conference road win, the Buffaloes had a chance to change that, and they did. Former Wildcat Ziona Walker notched a double-double for Colorado in her return to her home state. It was a slobber knocker, with both teams shooting just over 30%. The Buffaloes snagged the win in the fourth quarter, ending the game on a 7-1 run for their first road win.
The men's basketball team fell to the number 8 Iowa State Cyclones in a 97-67 blowout on Thursday. The Buffaloes had a sluggish start, falling behind by a score of 30-4 with 12 minutes until the half. The Cyclones had 6 players with double-digit points in the contest, led by guard Jamarian Brown's 17 points. As for the Buffs, star guard Isaiah Johnson was the only bright spot, with his 24 points accounting for much of CU's offensive action.
The Buffs' next men's basketball matchup is on Saturday, where they will face the TCU Horned Frogs. TCU comes to Boulder with a 13-8 record, 3-5 in Big 12 play. The Buffs will aim to avoid their 7th straight loss since winning their first 2 conference games. To do that, they'll have to shut down star TCU guard David Punch, who is averaging 14 points, 7 points, and 7.5 rebounds per game, both team highs.
The Buffs continue their Kansas road trip as they prepare to take on the Jayhawks on Sunday. Colorado has the conference's 6th best defense and will attempt to slow down Kansas's top 6 offense. Smaya Nichols leads Kansas scorers with 18 points per game. Dutoit will attempt to follow up with any misses with a board. Her 8.9 rebounds per game is good enough for 2nd in the Big 12. Tip-off is set for 1 and will be streamed live on ESPN+.
After a long Kansas road swing, women's hoops returns home to face number 22 West Virginia. The Mountaineers are led by junior guard Gia Cook, averaging 14 a game. Colorado has already upset a ranked team at home this season and knocked off another ranked West Virginia team in Boulder last year. A win here could carry big March implications for the Buffaloes as the Mountaineers face ranked Baylor Pryor.
Colorado men's basketball is preparing to head to Waco for a Big 12 showdown with Baylor as both teams look to turn their seasons around. The Bears enter on a 4-game losing streak and have dropped 7 of their last 8, falling to just 1-7 in conference play. Baylor is led by sophomore Cameron Carr, who averages just under 20 points per game and nearly 1.5 blocks, rare production from the guard position. With both sides looking to build momentum in Big 12 play, expect a high-urgency battle for the Buffaloes on the road.
As women's lacrosse wraps up its preseason, 4 Buffs earned conference honors, including 2 of the top awards. Sophomore goaltender Elena O was voted Big 12 preseason goalie of the year. Senior defender Jess Peluso was selected as preseason co-defender of the year. Senior attacker Maddie Shoup and senior midfielder Lily Assini were named to the All Big 12 preseason team. Along with O and Peluso, the Buffs come into this season third in the Big 12 preseason poll and will start the season in Evanston, Illinois to play the Northwestern Wildcats.
Over the past few weeks, past and present members of Colorado's ski team qualified for the Milano Cortina Winter Olympic Games, which start next week. Joanne Reed, Jacob Moch, Alvar Johannes Alev, and Hugo Hinkfuss will cross-country ski for 4 different countries. Ryder Sarchett and Cassidy Gray will represent the U.S. and Canada in alpine events, respectively.
The tennis team has started out hot this season. In their first weekend of play, they swept Montana State 7-0 and then the Air Force Academy 4-0. So far, both doubles and singles play have been flawless, but the team faces new competition this weekend. Tonight at 6, the Buffs are hosting Miami of Ohio. The Redhawks are 0-4 this season. On Sunday, the team travels to take on Denver University at 4 p.m., facing the Pioneers, who have won their only duel of the season.
Financially speaking, the University of Colorado's athletic department is in a bit of a pickle. To talk about the $27 million elephant in the room, here's Lincoln Roach and Harrison Simeon.
The University of Colorado is facing its largest athletic budget deficit in history. Alongside Lincoln Roach, I'm Harrison Simeon. Welcome to Buff Banner. And CU's pockets are really hurting. $27 million. That's quite a hole to dig out of.
Yeah, no, it is a record. The most in the history of the University of Colorado, and there's really not a lot of options. We'll get into it, but yeah, it is a sizable impact to the budget.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the reasons for it, you look at a lot of schools, they're dealing with deficits too. And what are the biggest reasons for people that don't know?
Yeah, as you mentioned, this is a problem across the country right now because the House v. NCAA settlement, right? You can now pay your athletes. The law caps it at $20.5 million, and CU has committed to spending all of that to pay its players. That's the vast majority of the deficit right there. Is just we don't yet have the money to pay the players, but we're doing it anyways.
Well, the biggest thing about it is it's kind of a school with a middleweight history, but with a heavyweight front man and Deion Sanders. That's become a big focus these last few years, but it's not a school that has the NIL collectives or at least the financial history of Texas or Ohio State.
Yeah, no, this is not the SEC.
Yeah.
We're not Bama, right? And so that's another point you bring up with other ways we're in this deficit. Is the other big catchy expense is raises for Deion Sanders and then his coordinators, right? Deion got a $4.3 million raise in 2025. He's making $10 million now. And then his 2 coordinators combined, the new amount of money they're getting in is about 1.5. So add that up and you're nearly at $27 million.
Right, and you think back to the opening press conference, Rick George, when they asked him, "Oh, how are you going to pay that money to a big contract, Deion Sanders?" He said he didn't know. He didn't have the money yet.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
But they assumed that Deion was going to affect the university so well financially that they'd be able to be okay, and he did. He did. They were able to give him a raise, double his pay over the next 5 years. So, but still, those are the glaring things. What were some of the things that have surprised you in your research?
I think the number one just fun fact I found from all of this is that the University of Colorado pays $800 a month for Deion Sanders' country club membership. That's in his contract. I think that's funny. But the thing that was most glaring to me was already how much CU, the university, is financially supporting its athletic department. And the odds are likely that that will just continue to increase because of this deficit.
Right, and there have been some big changes they've had to make to address this. Rick George stepping down, now bringing in Fernando Lovo, who came from a school in a mid-major in New Mexico, was able to build things up without that sizable budget. But still, what do you think that he can do and he can address that can help CU dig out of this hole?
Yeah, there's a few things. First, I think we have a graphic that can show just that sharp rise those last 3 years, right? 2025, that ended technically in July, right before the football season. Number one thing he can do is hope that number goes up, is beg the chancellor and the regents for more funding. And I will say, that's not unlikely. The chancellor and the regents have shown nothing but support, both in the press and with their wallets, of CU athletics the last few years. I think there was a number reported that it'll already go up $11.2 million. USA Today said that, but that's number one. Number two, that's where it gets tough, is realistically, they're going to have to consider cutting D1 sports. It's happened across the country. We've seen primarily Olympic men's sports impacted, right? Title IX says you have to be proportional, so things like scholarships and teams have to be even to make up for the football team. That's why we have so many women's only sports. So yeah, men's golf might be on the table here. I will say too, Rick George had committed that he would not cut D1 sports. He had said plain day, that's not on the table. Fernando Lovo has not directly answered the question.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, really,
has he?
I think he was asked it to an extent, like it was a second part of a question. I'll have to rewatch it, but he definitely did not say yes or no.
Yeah.
And I think that was intentional on his part, because he can't make that promise realistically.
It's really tough, because you look at some of those Olympic sports. CU.
That's, I think, really.
It's really tough, because you look at some of those Olympic sports. CU has great history in skiing, in track, and different sports like that. And I think more of the fan desires would be to add sports. We've talked for ages about hockey, baseball, men's lacrosse, things like that all these other schools have, especially ones that are popular in Colorado, that CU may not just have the budget for, but they may have to cut more.
Yeah, and they're just stuck in a rock and a hard place here, because on one hand, they technically don't have to pay $20.5 million. You want to find $20 million to cut in this deficit, don't pay the athletes, right? But then you have the issue is then no one wants to play here if they're football.
Perform, and then you don't make money.
And then you don't make money, and then you're back in the same place of we're in a deficit again. So yeah, there's really not a lot of options. Lovo has fundraised really well at his old job, so we'll see. I know he's mentioned fundraising a lot about his priorities, but I can't imagine, unless we find our own billionaire,
right,
that this budget deficit goes away this year.
It's going to take a lot. Lovo has a good resume, though. I think that he's still in his honeymoon phase, but once he gets out of that, he's going to be working hard. We'll see what happens, but that's all we have to say for now. We hope that CU can address its rather hurting pockets right now. Alongside Lincoln Roach, I'm Harrison Semyon, sending you guys back to the desk.
Thanks, Harrison, and especially Lincoln. Last week, we reported defensive line transfer Ezra Christensen would not join the Buffs due to an eligibility dispute. That's now inaccurate, as Christensen signed with CU on Wednesday under the assumption that the NCAA approved his 6th season of eligibility. The former New Mexico statesman broke out last fall and should start as a D tackle for the Buffaloes.
Former Colorado Buffalo and current Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders was named to this Monday's Pro Bowl. His replacement of Patriots quarterback Drake May, who opted out of the games to prepare for the Super Bowl, came with major community backlash due to his regular season stats. As a rookie, Sanders threw for a pedestrian 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Still, he is the first ever rookie quarterback drafted in the 5th round to make a Pro Bowl in the history of the NFL.
Shedeur Sanders' surprising Pro Bowl selection brings us to this week's trivia question. This week, we're asking you, who is the last Colorado graduate to earn Pro Bowl honors? We'll have that answer for you later in the show.
Ryan, what went wrong? You threw 4 interceptions and fumbled our hearts. For Sko Buff Sports, I'm Lincoln Roach.
Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Balin, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those 2 colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is Skull Buffs?
Sko Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
Senior soccer star Hope Leba has won Colorado Sports Woman of the Year in college soccer category. Leba was the leading goal scorer in the nation last season with 22 goals in 24 games. She finished the season with 45 points, a CU record, good for first in the Big 12 and 4th in the country. This is the second year in a row that a Buff has won this award, the goaltender Jordan Nidis winning the award last year.
The track and field team is back at it this weekend, but this time they're heading to the East Coast. Every year, Boston University is a premier location for teams to travel to, and the Buffs are heading back there this season for the John Thomas Terrier Classic. This meet is important for all of CU's runners, as they only get so many opportunities to run at sea level and avoid the air elevation in Boulder. All eyes will be on the CU distance team as they try and cement their spot as a top distance team for the upcoming winter season.
As usual, women's golf is starting its spring season south of the border. The Buffs are in Guadalajara, Mexico for the Collegiate Invitational hosted by Virginia. They're one of the 12 teams in the tournament, 7 of which are top 50 in the country. They start the semester ranked 43rd after an impressive fall, winning the Ram Classic and placing second at the Ron Moore Intercollegiate. CU teed off this morning and will compete until tomorrow evening.
The women's hockey team had a rough weekend, losing both of their games to the UMass Minutewomen by scores of 4-2 and 3-2 in overtime. It was a tough showing for the Buffs, but they are right back at it this weekend with their most important games of the season. Colorado will face off with the Utah Utes this weekend and next weekend for 4 total games. The Buffs are in second place in the WWCHL behind only the Utes, so this stretch of games will likely decide the conference. They play Game 1 tonight at 7:30 in Salt Lake City.
Men's D1 hockey returns to the ice this weekend after a week off. Last week's series against the University of Oklahoma was rescheduled due to weather-related travel issues. This week, the Buffs take the trip to Springfield to face off against the Missouri State Ice Bears. In their last meeting back in November, the Buffs lost both games at home and were outscored 9-5. Colorado will look to get the offense back on track after being shut out in their last series against the University of Mary 2 weeks ago. They will get a chance against Missouri tonight at 6 p.m. and tomorrow 5 p.m.
The men's D2 hockey team is set to play their last 2 games of the regular season this weekend. The Buffs have been dominating the new year as they came into this week ranked 7th in the West and on an 8-game win streak dating back to November 16th. However, the red-hot Buffs finally saw their first loss this year as they fell to Grand Canyon with a final score of 7-2 last night. Colorado will look to get back in the win column with a game against the Northern Arizona University Lumberjacks at 5:30 p.m. tonight. In their final game of the regular season, CU will face off against the Arizona State Sun Devils on Saturday at 9 p.m.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Kieran Walker bringing you this week's top 5 plays in Colorado sports. A bit of a quiet weekend here in Boulder, but let's dive right in because there's still some stuff to cover. For number 5, we go to men's hoops against UCF. It's Isaiah Johnson. He's going to drop back, not letting them know his next move. Takes a shot from deep, and he gets it from downtown, right at the buzzer. Buffs only down by 2 going into halftime. Let's go to hockey now for number 4. It's women's hockey. Natalie Ewald right down the slot, and she scores off the assist from Sophie O'Brien. O'Brien's second point of the night on that assist. and Ewald with an incredible goal right down the slot. Now that same game, it's earlier in that second period. Buff's not on the board yet, but O'Brien will put them on as she sneaks that over that left shoulder of the UMass goaltender. What a play by Sophie O'Brien, putting the Buffs on the board. Her first point of the night. Let's go back to men's hoops now for number 2. It's held by Holland. He's going to send it over to Michele, and he goes in for the slam! Michele puts the Buffs up by 7 early in that first half. Man, he is hyped. What a play. Now let's go back to men's D2 hockey for number 1 this week. It's intercepted out in front, and Brick Fisher gets a double hat trick on the night. Not a single, but a double hat trick. 6 points on the night for the freshman. What a play indeed. That was a huge night against SMU. That's going to do it for this week here on Skill Buff Sports. I'm Kieran Walker, wishing you a wonderful weekend.
Hey, what?
Here we see Xavier McNevitz working on his reader for the live show. If we didn't have these readers done by Thursday night, chances are we would not be airing this show right now. Be like Xavier. Get your readers done. And don't forget to click save so that you don't lose any of your hard-earned work.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Kayla Muma with this week's Rapid Fire. This evening, varsity tennis faces off against Miami, Ohio at 6 p.m. at the Meadows Club right here in Boulder. For this event, fans can find live updates on Instagram and X at CU Buffs Tennis. Next up, men's basketball will continue their season playing TCU this Sunday at noon at the CU Event Center. This game will be televised on TNT or True TV. Next up, women's basketball will travel to Lawrence, Kansas to play the Jayhawks also Sunday at 1 p.m. This game can be streamed on ESPN+. And to cap off Rapid Fire, tennis will conclude their weekend hitting the road for DU Sunday at 4 p.m. at the Denver Tennis Park. Live updates and information will be available to follow on Instagram and X at CU Buffs Tennis. I'm Kayla Muma, and this is this week's Rapid Fire.
Thanks, Kayla. It's now my favorite time of the week. Let's reveal our trivia answer. As a reminder, we asked you, who was the last Colorado grad to earn Pro Bowl honors? Drum roll, please. The answer is David Bakhtiari. The former Green Bay Packers tackle was a 2-time All-Pro and 3-time Pro Bowler. His latest honor came in 2020. But everyone knows his greatest accomplishment was 5 years earlier when he starred in Pitch Perfect 2.
Our tweet of the week comes from SportsCenter as the Darius Sanders documented Colorado football's return to practice. Coach Prime took to the bench press and proved he can still bench 225 pounds at 58 years old. A bit winded, Sanders responded, "I ain't done that in a minute," but Coach is certainly still putting in that work. Let's see it.
You want this? You got this.
They get it, Coach? Yeah, they get it.
You gotta stop him.
How many?
How many?
Oh, that's too light.
Remember, I always do one more.
Always do one more. Let's do it.
Oh!
Got it. Keep got this.
Good job. I'm wearing a white beater when I get found. I'm coaching with a white beater on. You don't get 225, I'm fighting you. Oh, Lord.
As some of you all may have heard, we do have a special guest joining us here on the live show today.
This is Vale Elizabeth Howell, full government name intended.
And she is just the most wonderful, sweet little addition to the SBS crew that we could ever possibly ask for. So we're all excited to be giving her some love. We hope you guys can all do the same. And we hope you have all had a wonderful time checking on CU Sports with us. We will also all see you next week. And remember, you heard it here first.